Now that Rings of Power is in full swing, I thought it would be fun to take a look at No politics required. And it goes a little something like this. The main point is, one book for one movie creates the best odds for success. You take one book and try to make 3 movies out of them, on top of studio meddling? Well, still possible, if handled correctly. After some hemming and hawing, it was finally confirmed that the only thing Amazon really had any creative license to develop into a 5-season series was one section at the back of the last book, The Return of the King. That section is known as the appendices. But these appendices are only about 100 or so pages, including the maps. The first season is 8 episodes. That's about 8 hours. If each season is roughly the same runtime, that's 40 hours of content. The precedent set by The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit should have been enough for any creative investor to tread lightly, but instead, the gamble rolled on. Now, as to the politics, I will make this observation. Regardless of the current media spin, it is a well-documented fact that Tolkien started with stories he told his children and an ambition to create an enduring mythology for his beloved country of England. For all of the criticism of the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy, most fans are grateful that, if nothing else, Jackson and his team worked hard to stay as true to the spirit of the novels as possible. That movie trilogy remains exalted as one of the best book-to-screen adaptations ever. The main production team for Rings of Power goes like this. Jeff Bezos as executive producer and principal investor motivating this whole project. Then there's Lindsay Weber, Amazon Studios head of production, and under her are the 2 showrunners, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. And with these 2 showrunners, we have undeniable proof that despite all the posturing about inclusion and diversity, merit means absolutely nothing to this creative team. To listen to these 3 people preach about diversity and inclusion without any sense of irony or humility is laughably tragic and absurd. And Bezos, the billionaire fool, just kept writing the checks. The biggest blunder these Americans made was assuming that simply by buying the license right to the appendices, that somehow they were allowed creative control over Tolkien's entire legacy. But more to the point, Tolkien is British and considered a national treasure, along with his most popular works. What he created was out of pride and love for family and country.
Oh yeah? Hey, Kool-Aid!
Oh yeah, here comes Kool-Aid, here comes Kool-Aid.
Greed motivated Rings of Power. Greed so overt it made normally insidious PR strategies appear commonplace. And it's not just England that would rightly feel insulted by these impertinent, impetuous capitalists. This has literally exploded into a full-on global war. It's the American capitalists versus the defenders of Tolkien and Mother England. You want to talk about politics, the rest of the world sees what's going on for what it really is. This is just another upstart American company trying to steal another country's beloved property and bastardize it into something that can be mass-produced and sold for cheap. But the world won't take it. This isn't Marvel or Star Wars, this is the Lord of the Rings, and it's been around longer than any of these arrogant Americans have been walking this earth. While internal US politics continues to play out in social media, the real war, the war to control Tolkien's legacy, is still in full swing. And for the time being at least, it seems the arrogant Americans have failed in their attempt to usurp Middle-earth from England. Rings of Power was doomed before the ink was dry on the contracts. For now, Amazon lost. Bezos lost. The dominatrix producer and her lapdog showrunners who had the audacity to claim Tolkien's world needed improvement failed to deliver on their promises.
Woohoo!